You have no friend in this world. I brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you are suffering. Take this Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I fall at the Lord's feet, having taken this Maha Mantra. Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chanda Bole, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chanda Nidra Jayo Maya Pisachira Kule Nidra Jaya Maya Pisachira Kule Kota Nidra Jaya Maya Pisachira Kule Jaya Maya Sajina Kule Bhajibo Poliya Ese Samsara Vitore Poliya Ese Samsara Vitore Buliyago Nile Tomi Adichara Bore Buliyago Nile Tomi Adichara Bore Tomare Lorite Hoy no avatara Lorite Hoy no avatara Ami Bina Bandhuara Kaya Chaito Mara Pina Bandhuara Kaya Chaito Mara Enechio Shodi Ashibalo Lagi Chita Shodi Maya Nashibalo Lagi Hari Nama Mahamantra Love to me Mari Nama Mahamantra Love to me Mari Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Goriya Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Goriya Bhakti Vinoda Prabhu Charane Goriya Noda Prabhu Charane Goriya Jai Hari Nama Mantra Glory Lama Hare Nama Glory Lama Glory Hare Nama Glory Lama Hare Nama Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Shri Nitai Madhvachandra ki Jai Gaur Prema Hare Krishna Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Astucha Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasri Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srila Prabhupada, our Srila Prabhupada, a friend to all. Early contemporaries remember him. Compiled by Her Grace, Mother Prakriti Devi Das. So we're almost finished. There's just a few more. Srimati Janava Didi. Didi means like auntie kind of thing. Is it? Sister. Huh? Sister. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srimati Janava Didi became a disciple of Srila Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj in 1974. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Sridhar Mandir in Navadvita Swami Maharaj for many years before I met him. Krishna Maya Didi was present in the Mat from the 1940s, and she had met and served this godbrother and close friend of Srila Guru Maharaj, Sridhar Goswami, many times. I was present in 1976 when Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami came to the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. Our Guru Maharaj was very happy that he came. At that time, Krishna Maya Didi was cooking, and Srila Guru Maharaj told her to cook very nicely. Srila Guru Maharaj said, "Do not use chili. Swami Maharaj and many of his devotees are coming, so you must cook your very best." Krishna Maya Didi made special preparations that Srila Guru Maharaj had directed her to make. Quote, "You cook puris and bodhi charchari, potato and bodhis cooked with mustard oil, turmeric, and salt." He knew that Swami Maharaj liked this very much. After cooking the lunch, Krishna Maya Didi distributed the prasadam to everyone. So this is a trait of the good cook, is they cook, but they also want to distribute. They want to distribute the prasadam as well. They want to not only be the person behind the cooking, but they want to be the person distributing the cooking. After cooking the lunch, Krishna Maya Didi distributed the prasad to everyone. The other disciples of Swami Maharaj took prasad downstairs, and the two godbrothers took upstairs. When Swami Maharaj came down by the kitchen after taking prasadam, he told Krishna Maya Didi how pleased he was. Quote, "At this time, Srila Guru Maharaj's sister," this is Bhakti Rakshaka Sridhar Maharaj, his sister Rama Didi was upstairs listening to the Hari Katha that Srila Swami Maharaj and Srila Guru Maharaj were speaking. So Swami Maharaj means Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj means Sridhar Maharaj. Srila Guru Maharaj told his sister, quote, "Oh, you listen very carefully to the Hari Katha from Swami Maharaj. Then sometime you can also go to America to preach along with him." Quote, "I was new at that time, but Srila Guru Maharaj told me to please come there and pay dandavats to Swami Maharaj. Swami Maharaj asked me, quote, 'What is your name?' At that time, my name was Jayanti. So I paid dandavat Srila Swami Maharaj was happy and he gave me a wonderful blessing saying, quote, may you always be engaged in your Guru Maharaj's seva. Krishna Mai Didi had told me Swami Maharaj was boldly preaching Harinam Sankirtan everywhere. I heard Swami Maharaj say how he was distributing this to his full capacity to people in every town and village all over the world. It is very hard to preach such difficult work and not always in very nice places, he said. Of course, compared to India, the West, even though materially advanced, was not a very nice place with all the sinful activities that were predominant in the West. Here's an interesting quote. Guru Maharaj told Krishnamai Didi that Swami Maharaj had told him confidentially, quote, this is Srila Prabhupada, I bring them here a bit like wild animals, and you should help me make them into devotees. They are like monkeys, but if they are given Hari Katha, then, then they become good devotees. Krishnamai Didi said that Guru Maharaj had told her this. So, confidential. And this was why sometimes Srila Prabhupada wanted his godbrothers to help him train his devotees. He wanted them to help. But some of them really couldn't see, they couldn't appreciate what Srila Prabhupada had done just by preaching the Maha Mantra and Krishna consciousness devotional service in the West. And they were like rough diamonds. If you see a diamond, of course you have to know what diamonds are. You have to know what a diamond is. Because if you're mining for diamonds, they don't come all cut and polished. They look like a piece of quartz or a piece of glass. You can't tell unless you know what a diamond is. So Prabhupada knew, he could see that these Western persons he could see the little spark of devotion there, and he was trying to fan it. And some of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers could appreciate what Prabhupada had done to get them that far and bring them to India and get them purified. So he wanted his godbrothers and godsisters to help, but some of them, and some did. Persons like Sridhar Maharaj, different of his godbrothers, they could appreciate what Prabhupada had done, and they tried to help, but some couldn't appreciate. Krishnamai Didi was good friends with Pishima, Srila Prabhupada's sister, Bhavatarini. They knew each other for many years. She very much liked Bhavatarini Didi, who also came here to visit. Twice Pishima gave me blessings that I would do Guru Seva and Hari Seva very nicely. So this is a point that first the Guru Seva and then Hari Seva. There's a nice verse. Evam janam nipatitam prabhavai kupe kama bikamam amulya prapatan prasanga krit vatmasat sarashina bhagavan vihita soham katam nu visrijay tava bridja seva. Prayer by Prahlad Maharaj, and he says that I was born in bad association, and I was following the general populace. And I was about to fall into a blind well full of snakes, full of snakes. Not just one snake, lots of snakes. There are such places where there's lots of snakes living together in a deep pit, following the general populace. But your devotee, Narada Muni, kindly blessed me and showed me how to attain this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How can I ever forget his service? So we have to remember that Srila Prabhupada is our guide, our eternal guide, and he has given us so much in the way of instructions. He has given us so many signposts to keep to the path of devotion. She told me, your life is very important because you are a renunciant. My life is family life, but yours is not. It is a very nice opportunity. I bless you always to be engaged in Vaishnav Seva and service to the Lord. So she wasn't married, she didn't have a family. So it was, as Mother Bhavatarini, Pishima, Srila Prabhupada's sister, is telling her, that you have a very nice opportunity. She was saying that my life is family life, but yours is not. So that's the benefit, the benediction of not being a householder, is that if one can, then one can dedicate one's life purely to the service of the spiritual master, the devotees, and the Supreme Lord. At that time, I was laughing and happy with her. She was staying at Chandrodaya Mandir, and she told me to come to her room. She said, I'm pleased that you are doing seva to your Guru Maharaj, and after this, you do more and more service, especially service to Krishnamaya Didi. Swami Maharaj and Pishima had the same face, and they laughed in the same way. If you ever saw Prabhupada's sister, you'd be surprised how she looked just like Srila Prabhupada. And the tone of their voice was also very similar. They were both very wonderful and beautiful. She was always sprinkling Ganga Jal everywhere and also distributing Mahaprasada. So Mother Vaishaka, the photographer, she had to be careful because Mother Pishima was always, she had a little bottle and she was sprinkling Ganga Jal on everyone and everything because everything is contaminated and therefore Ganga Jal is very purifying. But she had to be careful because she had photographic equipment, so that didn't get purified by Ganga Jal. So she was always sprinkling Ganga Jal everywhere and also distributing Mahaprasadam. One Bengali lady with Pishima said that Pishima was such a nice devotee and that I was getting sukriti by receiving her blessings. So this is also the point that we receive so much benefit, sukriti, by receiving the blessings of the Vaishnavas, every Vaishnava. So we should be on the lookout for opportunities to serve the devotees, serving prasadam, serving in so many ways, offering gifts, dadati pratigranati, guyam akyati prachati, bhukte bhojayate chaiva, sadvidam priti lakshana. We make so much advancement by getting the blessings of the devotees. I saw her twice. Swami Maharaj told my Guru Maharaj, quote, we like Jayanti. Then Guru Maharaj gave me permission to go to Mayapur and visit Pishima at her room. I told Guru Maharaj that I wasn't able to go because at that time there were no ladies to go with me and I couldn't go anywhere alone. There were so many brahmacharis, but not ladies, and it was not good for me to be out. I was very young, and Guru Maharaj took very good care of me and protected me. During Swami Maharaj's Grihastha life, he made a special injection medicine. This is where it is. I put a little flag here. Called Daka Dora Borale, which was for weakness and lack of vitamins. So Prabhupada, he was not just a pharmacist that supplied the medication, but he also invented different medications like that. We were reading Shamasundara and Malati. Before they met Srila Prabhupada, they had been arrested for selling drugs. Of course, if you got arrested with more than a little quantity of drugs for like personal use, then they would charge you for selling as well. So they were arrested for that. And then they had to go to court. This was put off for some while. They'd met Prabhupada in the meantime. And then they had to go from Seattle, from San Francisco. From San Francisco, they had to go to Seattle to serve prison sentence. So he told Prabhupada that he had been arrested for selling drugs. And Prabhupada said, I also used to sell drugs. And they were laughing because it wasn't obviously the same kind of drugs. They were prescription drugs. But Prabhupada also, as mentioned here, he used to make special preparations, a special injection medication called Daka Dora Borale, which was for weakness and lack of vitamins. In the past, he gave it to Guru Maharaj and to Krishnamai Didi also. It is an ingenious formula. Now they still sell it everywhere in the marketplace after many years. I am older and I also sometimes take it even today and get so much benefit for it. So we were reading the pastime with O.B.L. Kapoor, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, and he was talking. And he was taking his exams in Sanskrit. You can imagine exam in Sanskrit. How intricate and tough that would be. So Prabhupada gave him, I'm assuming, this particular medication, or maybe even another one, because it said it was good for memory. So he gave it to him before he took his exams. And afterward, Prabhupada asked him, well, how was it? How was the medication? And O.B.L. Kapoor said, yes, it was very good. Thank you very much. But I want that medication that you take. Prabhupada said, well, what medication is that? And O.B.L. Kapoor, he said, the medication, it makes you such a wonderful devotee and a wonderful preacher of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada said, oh, that medication. I'm working on the formula. And O.B.L. Kapoor said that, well, when you get it, you must give it to me if it's not a problem. Of course, sometimes you don't want to give out the formula. You want to keep a copyright on it. But later, the next time they met, Prabhupada said, oh, about that medicine we were talking about. I haven't got the formula, but I've got the ingredients. He said, oh, what is that? And he said, the ingredient is Pranada peace, Anichena, Torora peace, Ishnana, Manina Manadena, Kirtan. That's the. All right. So I must check out next time we're in India for Daka Dora Borale.
Yes.
Legal medication.
Smuggling.
Sripad Narayan Maharaj. So there's a few Narayan Maharajas, not the more well-known. Maharaj. Sripad Narayan Maharaj is a disciple of Srila Bhakti Daita Madhava Maharaj. He is the manager of the Chaitanya Gaudiya Math. Quote, I met Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami in 1967 when he came to this math after returning from America. I was in Calcutta when Bhaktivedanta Swami came there with Achyutananda. Later, Jayapataka Swami also came and stayed at our mat while I was present there. There was no temple for devotees. So where do you go? You can't go to an Airbnb, and you don't know the places. So devotees used to stay at the Gaudiya Mats. Our Gurudev arranged everything for their stay. Swami Maharaj came to visit us here at Chaitanya Mat. His disciples wanted to offer me a sweet and some fruit, but I didn't want to take anything from a foreigner's hand. So they knew the Westerners have been eating meat, taking intoxication, doing all kinds of strange things. They didn't even want to accept anything from them. And that was the general tendency, that these people are so contaminated, you don't want to deal with them. So you can imagine that, a person like myself would think, what's wrong with these people? I'm giving them something and they won't accept it. They won't accept it. So what does that mean? So the humility was lacking on our side because we didn't know. We didn't know. But I didn't want to take anything from a foreigner's hand. I had never done so before. But Swami Maharaj, knowing my fear, kindly said to me, quote, I will touch this fruit and sweeten with my hand, and then you can take it. So that's what we do. We offer it to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada offers it to his Guru Maharaj, offers it to his Guru Maharaj. Ultimately, it gets to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. I will touch this fruit and sweeten with my hand, and then you can take it. I said to Swami Maharaj, you went to America to preach in your very old age. Yes, he told me. I didn't know how I would do it. I was sitting in the park in New York. I had a photograph of my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, around my neck. I was sitting there looking around and wondering what I could do. They all appeared to be demons. All appeared to be demons. We read one story where Prabhupada, this one of the Gaudiya Math members, a young boy, had come to see Prabhupada, and then he was speaking with Prabhupada, and then some of Prabhupada's disciples came up to speak to Prabhupada, and they were big, tall, and mean looking. And he ran away. He just ran away. He ran and hid, and he jumped in a lake or something to hide. He was so scared, even though Prabhupada's right there. So we don't think like that we look like demons, even though a good part of us still is, unfortunately. I was sitting there looking around and wondering what I could do. They all appeared to be demons. I didn't know how to preach, but by the mercy of Gurudev and by his blessings, all the preaching became possible. Unquote. He said to me, you come here in the mat, chant Hare Krishna, and you also can have everything. So that was his blessing. Sripad Ram Prasad Das Adhikari. Ram Prasad Das Adhikari is a disciple of Bhakti Daita Madhava Goswami Maharaj. He stays at Sri Chaitanya Gaudiya Math in Mayapur. Quote, I met Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada in 1972 when he had come to Bombay from England. In January 1970, I'd written him a letter saying I wanted to go abroad. He wrote back suggesting life membership, saying that he had 100 temples worldwide and that my family and I could stay in them. He wrote to me a letter explaining that if I were a member, I would receive all of his books, as well as a lifetime subscription to BTG. He told me that if I had 20,000 rupees, he would arrange so that I could stay at his temples. Somehow, though, they forgot to register me, so they wouldn't accept me. Finally, I went personally to Bombay, and Giriraj corrected it. So this was the thing, devotees were making life members, but they weren't keeping records. They had the money was gone, but they didn't register. There was no system for it. We were reading the book by Mother Mahamaya, and she was saying how it was one Mataji there, I can't remember her name, who was trying to organize the life membership files. And then she asked Mother Mahamaya to come and help her to sort that out. Big mess. So this devotee had paid the life membership fee, but they didn't register him, so then they wouldn't accept. He'd already given the money, but they wouldn't accept him. Finally, I went personally to Bombay, and Giriraj Maharaj corrected it. Swami Maharaj was there. When I met him, he showed me my life membership card and talked to me. I told him I was the disciple of Bhakti Daita Madhava Maharaj, and he became very happy. So in India, everybody's taking initiation. They take initiation, there's some ceremony, but many times it's just a family guru. It's not a person who's pursuing in their own life Krishna consciousness. They know a few rituals for birth of the child. They know a few rituals for the marriages. They know a few rituals for the funeral ceremony, but they're not fully engaged in devotional service. So they're not really gurus. Prabhupada would ask, and when he heard the name, Prabhupada knew. And he would say, oh, he's very bona fide. He's very bona fide. So then there would be no question that they would have to take initiation once again. I told him I was a disciple of Bhakti Daita Madhava Maharaj, and he became very happy. So Prabhupada knew that he had taken proper shelter. Then I met him again in Delhi. There was an annual ISKCON ceremony in Vasant Kunj, and he was staying there. Swami Maharaj was always very busy with devotees, but he was very happy to see me. In 1974, I went to Stockholm, Sweden, and stayed in the ISKCON temple in Ispanga. Then, after 2 months, I stayed in Amsterdam. I thought his preaching was very nice. His devotees were doing such hard work, selling books 12 hours a day. This made me happy, and I respected him so much for his preaching. I always heard my Guru Maharaj praising him, quote, he has done such a good job in preaching abroad. His disciples are singing Bengali bhajans, just like the regular Bengalis, not like some, but others, like who's our famous godbrother? Who's the fire god again? Agni Dev. Yes, thank you. Like Agni Dev sings just like a Bengali. Achyutananda and some other disciples came to our temple to learn Bengali bhajans. Achyutananda stayed in Bengal for 3 years. Our Guru Maharaj respected his godbrothers and their disciples. There are still disciples of other godbrothers here at our temple. He loved his godbrothers very much. So that should be the mood. Whoever is initiated from whatever spiritual master, we should all offer one another complete respect. Not that, oh, my Guru Maharaj is the best, and you're unfortunate. I had taken darshan with Swami Maharaj 5 or 6 times at the inauguration festival of the Krishna Balaram Mandir. He instructed his disciples to be sure that I received prasadam. I built the first Vyasa in Stockholm and in Amsterdam. They also used that in Frankfurt. Swami Maharaj wrote me a letter in Hindi from Calcutta, thanking me for my letter and my service. He told me many details of his international preaching and his plans for traveling. I was an upholsterer by profession. This is how I came to make the Vyasasans. But really, I did it out of affection for him. So it's interesting that he was an upholsterer, and therefore when he went to Sweden, he made Vyasasan and other places, other temples he also made. So they must have really been nice. And this is a very nice one. Srimati Gita Devi Sharaf. Srimati Gita Devi Sharaf, a resident of Vrindavan, donated to Srila Prabhupada the land on which the Krishna Balaram Mandir has been built. So they were the ones that gave that land. Prabhupada came to our home, Sharaf Bhavan, to visit us. The next morning he told us how he wanted to find some land to make a center. My husband mentioned some land that we had. Quickly Prabhupada said, quote, "This sounds very nice. Perhaps it is Krishna's arrangement. It is in Raman Reti, quite far from the city. Is it all right if we arrange some time to see it?" So at that time, Raman Reti was the boondocks. The boondocks. It was way out in the country practically. The only thing were there's bushes and trees. There was nothing out there. It was a long way from the city of Vrindavan. But Prabhupada was interested because it was in Raman Reti, pleasing sands, where Krishna and Balaram used to graze the cows. So Prabhupada was very interested as soon as they mentioned that there was some land. So immediately Prabhupada became ready to go. My husband arranged for them all to go in the car. My husband said, "Maharaj, this place is quite far." But Prabhupada said, "Oh, we want it far because Krishna and Balaram were walking there. This is very suitable for us." Immediately upon seeing the land, he liked it. "Do you want to sell?" he asked. "At any price we can purchase it. Or if you want to give us a donation, that will be all right. But we will not force you to donate." After that, my husband said, But the land is in the name of my wife. She is not here. She is in Assam now. But she will come on the eve of Gaur Purnima. So you should come at least 1 week before. She will be here, and we will discuss it. So they had large business interests. The next time, when Mrs. Saraf was there, then he was away. Prabhupada assigned Srila Dakshai Vishnu Prabhu to help with this service. So he came over a few days before Gaur Purnima and waited for me. He stayed 4 days in our house. And so it's an interesting story, which I guess is here. Must be here. So, yeah. So we'll read that part. We donated that whole land to Srila Prabhupada and his ISKCON organization. However, in the signing of the land deed, my husband put a condition that the front 50-foot portion would be kept for his own use. So 50 feet, that's the deed to the wall. That's quite a big chunk. And it was right in front of the property, the part of it that bordered the road. This man wanted to keep that. They said he wanted to build a petrol station. That would have been nice. Petrol station, Indian oil, and then a temple kind of in the back there. My husband put a condition that the front 50-foot portion would be kept for his own use. His idea was to make shops there, to get some income perhaps. This was the idea in his mind. Of course, everything, the temple now is right in the middle of town practically. The whole town is shifted toward the temple. So everything is chock-a-block. There are buildings, temples, houses, guest houses, everything all around. The parikrama path, every day, especially on the Ekadasis, the devout residents of Vrindavan, they walk around Vrindavan. They do Vrindavan parikrama. So we were one time, last time we were there, we wanted to go, we had to get some things at Loy Bazaar. But there were so many vehicles, the road was blocked, because now they have trucks and everything, big 4x4s, everything going in these tiny little roads that are like that big. So then the man with the electric rickshaw, he said, okay, we'll take the parikrama mark. And I'm thinking, how are you going to get this thing to run in sand? Because the parikrama mark used to be sand. But then they asphalted the whole thing. It was a road now. So, and roads get a little hot during the day, so it wasn't so pleasant to do Vrindavan parikrama on asphalt. But that's what they did. When the initial temple construction was going on, Prabhupada called me and said, oh, I want that 50 feet of land so people can see the front of the temple. How can we make the front gate? My husband was not present in Vrindavan at that time. One day Prabhupada asked me to come and sign the deed, but my husband wasn't there. I was thinking to myself that he is making such a big temple for Krishna, and it only has one small back gate. It should have a very large front gate also. So they call it the Gopuram. And in Vrindavan and Mayapur especially, it's big domes like that. And then they spend months making those special gates for a special temple. Prabhupada said, so this is the work of a mother for her child. You are thinking that Krishna is my child So I must arrange a very big gate for his temple. This is Prabhupada speaking. You know, when a mother has a child, she is more affectionate to it than the father. So we are making such a big temple for Krishna, but he only has a small back gate. It is very clear to me that it is the work of a mother for her Lala, darling son, to make a big front gate. This is not the work of the father. Quote, my husband was not there, but Srila Prabhupada appealed to me, and I agreed. So there was a bit of another thing to it, that there was another group, there were two other groups that wanted to get that land as well. There was some impersonal Swami, and he had sent some of his lady disciples to help serve this Mataji Gita Saraf and worship her deity for her and do all this thing with the idea that he could get that land. And then there was another lady who was a member of the society, I think, but she also was in the temple business. She had a temple in Nairobi, and she wanted that land too. So even if Prabhupada wanted it, she wanted it. So there was a whole thing. It's described nicely on the following Srila Prabhupada DVD set. How Prabhupada, there was the lady was there, Prabhupada was there, these contesting people were there. I forget what this lady's name was, Mrs. something. She was there with the police chief or something. She was trying to push her rights through. Shama Sundar was there with his portable typewriter. And Prabhupada was also trying to get permanent residence for his rooms at the Radha Damodar temple. So two Goswamis were there who were brothers but hadn't talked to each other for 30 years out of some disagreement. So one was in another room, one was in another room. So Prabhupada, it was like a circus. To give an example, it was like a circus, so many people. And Prabhupada was the ringmaster. Organized the whole thing. When Prabhupada arranged for the signing of the deed, my husband said he would not go to Mathura to sign it. So Prabhupada made a phone call to the judge, and that judge came to our house so that we could all sign the deed. So things in India really take a lot of time. There's so much red tape. But Prabhupada cut through it all. The judge himself came to the place. Sometimes things of this nature take 6 months to accomplish. But within 3 days, it was approved by the judge, who was one of Prabhupada's friends. So it's good to have good contacts with people in high places. The day he signed the deed was the first time he saw our Kunjabi Hari. That was their deity of Krishna. He told us that Srimati Radharani was so merciful that it was she who had given this land. When he was telling us about how the deed was the mercy of our Thakuraji, Kunjabi Hari and Radharani, I saw that he was weeping. So there's pictures here of her deities as well. So in 2015, it was the 40th anniversary of the opening of the temple. And we did a parikrama to this lady's house. And we brought, in Kirtan, we brought her and her deities to the Vrindavan temple and placed her deities on the altar there for some days. And then she was received very respectfully by all the devotees. And then during the class, then she explained how all this had happened. And this devotee, see, because she was under pressure, this devotee, Shirodakshai Vishnu, who was from London, one of the first, Prabhupada's first Indian disciples, he was from London and he had gone to India. And as mentioned here, he had stayed in her home for a few days. So she couldn't decide. This Swami was pressuring her that, oh, I've done so much for you, my disciples. They weren't doing it out of love. They had an angle that they wanted. And then this lady, I can't remember. Anyway, her name, she was pushing, she wanted, and of course then Prabhupada wanted. So she couldn't decide. So what she did, she took two little pieces of paper. On one she wrote yes, on the other she wrote no. And she put the papers under the feet of her deities. And she told, you have to pick. You have to pick. So the Shirodakshai Vishnu, he picked the right one. He picked the right one. So then she accepted that this was Krishna's decision that the land should go to India, go to ISKCON. Prabhupada would often come to our house, and he would also call us to visit him at the temple there. When he came to our house, he would ask me, quote, why have you come on this planet? You have come to love Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So you should make him your son and serve him. He often came to take darshan of our Vigraha, Radha Kunjabi Hari, and take prasadam. Sometimes on Sundays, he would bring his devotees doing Hari Nam to our house. For 2 years, 1972 and 73, we would sit them down, feed them, and make malas, garlands for them. So that was tradition. Even when we went there was a good 50 devotees, and they had the little marigold garlands. And we didn't get full prasadam, but there was some sweet, some savory. So it was very nice. It was very nice to. One time, Prabhupada actually told us, this is interesting. Actually, all these foreign boys and girls who have come here were residents of India in their previous lives. They got the mercy of Krishna, and they again became devotees. It's another interesting thing. During the grand opening of the new temple, Prabhupada mentioned his appreciation that the land had been donated by me. I said, no, please don't say that. He said, you can have a room here and come every few days and eat prasadam. Krishna is your son, so you can have a room here in his house. So Prabhupada made that arrangement. He invited me to come with him to the West, but I couldn't go. He told my husband to also come, but my husband said he didn't want to leave Vrindavan. He had lived here continuously for many years. Prabhupada once told my husband, your wife Gita is so nice that Krishna has sent her to you. That is why you are living in Vrindavan. One time there was a difficult instance with my husband. So I went to Prabhupada to ask him for advice. Prabhupada recited a poem to me with very deep feeling. Quote, just like Radha can never be separate from Krishna. He finished by saying, whatever happened with you, you should also stay like this with your husband. Then I saw tears come into his eyes. This is the bhava that was there with him. By the inspiration of Thakurji, I have so much gratitude and affection for Prabhupada. I feel that he is even more than my very dear brother. So this is the last instance here. This following poem was an offering by Srimati Devi Shakti Devi Dasi to Srila Prabhupada on his disappearance day, October 28, 2003. It describes a confidence Srila Prabhupada shared with Mrs. Sharaf. It's a poem, it was a Vyasa Puja offering. Srila Prabhupada's secret. We know Srila Prabhupada as our loving Father and address each other as God sister and God brother. He captured many more souls than us with his love and trust. Today I'll tell you one short story, till now that has been all hush. One respected devotee, Srimati Gita Devi, she gave this land to Prabhupada despite her husband's plea. As a surrendered soul, she depended on her deity to make the right decision, and here we sit today. Now one would think that with such a donation, she could have been blessed beyond imagination, with wealth, sons, home, and worldly happiness. But she knew these things would not free her from distress. Now alone and elderly, she seeks our company. So when she called me one night, I felt it was my duty. She asked me to go to the Ganga with her. I reluctantly agreed on behalf of Srila Prabhupada to help her in a time of need. Traveling late at night, we were far from Vrindavan. To risk my life like this, I wondered why I'd even gone. On that dark, lonely road, we spoke of Krishna to allay my fears. Then, when we finally reached a town, she looked at me with tears. She said, "You know, Srila Prabhupada was just like my own father. He cared for me, and that was why I gave to him and no other. He told me a secret one day when we were all alone. I'll tell you what he said to me. It's something you should know. I came to see him one evening. He was sitting in his garden. Devotees sat by his feet, secretary and servants all around. As I came close, he smiled at me and told them all to go. I sat near his lotus feet, and this is what he told. Quote, Krishna sent me here to preach. He sent me from above. With English, Bengali, and Hindi, I could preach all over the world. I've almost finished my task, and soon I'll return to him. He told her this in 1976. After that, our lives went dim. I was amazed. Srila Prabhupada revealed this secret to her alone. She knew he came from Krishna and would soon be going home. Such wisdom was not wasted on an ordinary jiva. This blessing was hers from Prabhupada, confidentially. As we drove, she took my hand and made a simple wish. She asked me in sincerity, please teach me to speak English. But Gita Devi, you're so old. your precious time will be wasted. No, she said, I also want to preach, as Prabhupada did. I looked at her in amazement. She really wanted to preach. She had been transformed by receiving Srila Prabhupada's grace. By associating with fire, one becomes like fire, I saw. Her desire to preach like Prabhupada in an old woman bereft of all. The inspiration she received from a moment of Prabhupada's love reminds us how compassionate he was to come here from above. Hare Krishna. So that's it. Finished. Another book. Glorification of Prabhupada. So any comments, questions? Where's our duty mandala today? Okay. Anyone?
Where can we get that medication?
Yeah, right. Where can we get the medication? I was looking for because I put a marker in it, and now I see it, so I'll have to, it kind of folded over it, stuck between the pages. So I'll have to find some devotee who's going to India, or when I go.
Mandala.
Huh?
Maybe Gigi Mandala can bring us some.
Oh, right, he's gone. Is he gone?
No, Monday.
He's leaving Monday. Oh, you should write it down.
This coming Monday. Wow.
Huh?
Happy leaving this coming Monday.
Yeah, lucky. Well, he served for many years. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. I guess the chance to serve his Guru Maharaj. Great stuff. I wonder if he'll come back.
Even Gita's still there. So now even Gita Gami is still there.
Uh-huh.
He never came back.
Okay.
She's doing well.
Good. It's important. Yeah.
She's taking care of the cows.
Sorry?
I saw a picture. She's taking care of the cows.
Taking care of the cows. That's heavy lifting. I served in the Goshala in Mayapur. And you'd be amazed how heavy cow dung is when you have to scoop it up.
Yes.
You have to clear out the corral there. And yeah, it's heavy lifting. The one time I had to clean the trough, but they had this huge bull. His name was Dharma.
Wow.
And he was chained in the corner on a long chain. And what you needed to do was take him away by his chain on the trough so you could clean it. No, that's too much trouble. I'll just put some food on this side in the trough, and he can go over and eat that, and I'll clean this side of it. So I thought my plan was working, but I was sweeping so very nicely that I didn't notice that Dharma had come back. And he went like this with his neck, and a bull is muscle. And he caught me on the shoulder in the corner of the trough, and he almost crushed me in half. He wanted to take revenge for my meat eating, whatever. But yeah, boy, I wasn't going to try that again. But we had to stand guard there. I had to live there in the Goshala on a little Bhajan kutir, because previously the Gundas had come and they would just hack the animals and try to take away a leg or something. So you had to be there. Someone had to be there. We used to even in the main building, we used to stand guard duty for a few hours. This is back in the 70s because it was surrounded by gundas. Of course, they would always try to take what they could. But they knew about the shotgun. There was a big double-barrel shotgun. It was like this big. And this devotee used to sleep in the office with the shotgun. So that was all we had, but it was enough, and everybody knew about it. And that was the one that Pankajangri used to send a few people back home, because they did attack them one time, and he blew a couple of people away.
Yeah.
And then the one sannyasi,
The brahmachari.
huh?
Vandara de Mayapur.
Yeah, yeah, he took it. They were attacking. They even actually, and they threw bombs. That one devotee sannyasi was on the crutches. He lost his leg. And yeah, it was the wild, wild east. The wild, wild east back then. So, yeah. Devotees put up a lot of austerities serving in India in those days, of course. It's very purifying. Hare Krishna. All right. We'll finish there. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Nitai Mayapachandra ki, Nitai Gaur Premanand. Hari.